The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello everybody, welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Serge.
And my name is James.
Ba-boom, here we go again. Not for the first time we're recording before a game week has ended. I don't like it, but, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, Tuesday's just too late to put the main one out.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I agree or disagree.
It just fucks our week up.
Yeah, maybe, but then you get a bit more information.
What, do we not do more podcasts during the week?
No, that's true. That is true, but the main pod is still the main pod. I'd be interested actually on what days people actually listen, because we put it out on a Monday, but they might listen on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday. And you know, there's a lot of people that listen to us that listen to a couple of other pods. I wonder, like, if people have a set routine or they just...
I've seen some people have had that. Yeah, it's like,
routine.
Mondays, Cheaters, Tuesdays, Planet
whatever.
FPL, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Some people do have a set schedule like that.
Yeah. So we still have Leicester and Villa playing tonight.
Leicester and Villa.
Yes.
Yes.
Playing tonight, and we have Manchester City Arsenal on Wednesday. So there's two games potentially left, and no matter what you think your rank is, whether it's a green arrow or a red, it's going to get messed up in the next 48, 72 hours.
I should imagine so, yeah. I'm expecting mine to get worse.
Yeah, me too.
Although it might still be green. Depends.
What time's kickoff today? 7:45?
8 o'clock, sir.
8 o'clock. So we will not have the Leicester team news by the time we finish this show.
No.
However, there's a lot of leaks as well.
Yeah, it's believed, if you believe the Twitter chatter, that Jamie Vardy is not starting. And I believe you own him, Suj.
I do.
Although, since I told you that this morning, Jamie Vardy has declared on Instagram this afternoon that he is fit and ready to go.
So there we go.
So, the sub. That's what we're guessing.
He'll come on and bang in 3 goals today. For all of us Kevin De Bruyne owners, so many who have captained him, who don't want him to come on Wednesday to mess up their ranks so that they can get their vice captains in Salah and Mane to bang in the points. So what's going to happen.
I mean, like, even if Vardy doesn't play, if De Bruyne doesn't appear on Wednesday, although we think he will, for example, then people are getting plenty of points off the bench. You still got John Lundstrom?
No.
That's bad timing, isn't it?
No.
Didn't you sell him this weekend?
I did, but I bought Doctor and he got 6 points. So of all the transfers to make, I've walked into points. So it could be worse. It could have been a blank.
You could say you've walked into -6 there.
Yeah, potentially, but I don't know if I would have played Lundstrom this weekend had I had him. I'd have probably played Charlie Taylor.
It was interesting I can't say I was fully endorsed into Twitter at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon during the games, but it didn't feel like it had done previously when Lundstrom had returned.
No, most people
feels like most live players have probably moved off. Yeah.
So tell everybody how you did or how you've done so far.
I am on 47 points. With James Maddison and Kevin De Bruyne to go. Should James Maddison not make it, then Jack Grealish is my first substitute. Jamal Lascelles, old Big Tasty, sitting second on my bench for a 6-pointer. I decided, and it wasn't a last-minute decision, I knew what I was doing, but obviously getting the 11:20 a.m. news from Rockstar and Andy Robertson, I brought Charlie Taylor into the team. Lascelles would have been worth another 5 for me. My only returners are Mohamed Salah, captaincy for 18 points, and Alex McCarthy for a ridiculous 12 points.
That's it.
That's it. And
you must have had something else.
Well, 2s. Oh, sorry, Matt Doherty 6.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking
so
as well.
I'd bought Ismail Assar and Matt Doherty, as I said. That was my intention.
Yep. So that leaves 32 points between us at the moment. 33 because I've got an auto sub coming for Robertson. 33. I had exactly the same as, like, 45, 47 is the difference between us. I had exactly the same returners as you. Doherty, McCarthy and Salah captain. Doucouré getting a yellow card probably is the difference between us here. And Traoré came on for a 1-pointer. Did you start Traoré or have you got rid of Traoré?
Traoré went for me. Also, Diego Rico went. I obviously had money spare having moved from Jamie Vardy to Diogo Jota very late before the game week 28 deadline. So that enabled me to make those 2 free transfers. I don't intend to make any more now until game week 31, as I'm planning that way. And it'll probably be 3 more for a -4. And it's also to make a maneuver, I think, to allow me to make a move for game week 32, which, as I spoke very briefly on the People's Poll this morning, I think it's something that those plans towards game week 31 are in major risk of just completely avoiding.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I think in game week 32, the best captaincy option right now is Aubameyang. Now, as someone, bearing in mind, obviously, Man City and Liverpool play each other. Sheffield United, Spurs, no interest. Chelsea at West Ham, no interest. Leicester at Everton, no interest. Man United at Brighton, you could make a case at the moment, I think, for differential, won't be differential for much longer, Bruno Fernandes. But Aubameyang at home to Norwich is the standout. I want to make sure I get to it. To get to it, I am going to sacrifice almost definitely Kevin De Bruyne.
I'm looking at selling Kevin De Bruyne too in game week 32 to Bruno Fernandes. With all the money that I save, whether or not I get Aubameyang in for Vardy is still a question mark, mate, to be honest with you. However, we will get to that. You know, quite a few captained Aubameyang this weekend.
It's not finished yet.
It's not.
You haven't blanked yet.
When a player that is captained blanks against your own team, and I know quite a few have captained him, I know it's not a nice thing to do, but I did think, ha. Not from an FPL point of view, but I was like, you shouldn't have captained him against my team, even though we lost the game.
Right, you've never captained players against West Ham, no?
Probably.
You didn't triple captain
Probably.
Salah or anything like that.
To be honest, more so this week, I felt like it was not a good decision, and I felt like that call to say it was not a good decision was vindicated.
I think it's easy to say afterwards. I personally, I captained Salah. I didn't make any moves for any Arsenal or Manchester City players. It didn't feel right. At the moment, it's the right decision. If they draw 3-3 with each other Wednesday night and it goes a bit mental, like, it's going to kill me.
Yeah.
So it's not finished yet, mate.
No, it isn't indeed. Should we run down the games as we do each and every week?
Yes.
And whilst we do you mind telling everybody about the People's Poll this morning in case they haven't had a chance to go back and listen?
I do. And there was a major error in it.
Oh.
Which Suj didn't know. I don't know where Suj is getting up and going to. So I described a set of fixtures that may come about for game week 34 in the scenario that Arsenal, Leicester and Norwich... You got issues. You're getting electric shocks off nothing now.
Yeah, just got static off the table.
You're weird, mate. Are you up to like weird sex stuff at home or something?
No, but if there is any kind of weird sex stuff that gives you more static electricity, tweet me because I want to know what it is. I'll plug myself into the charger before I go or something.
So, yes, I detailed a situation which is possible if Arsenal, Leicester and Norwich all win in the FA Cup, which would lead to 4 doubles in game week 34. The exact fixtures that I read out actually leads to 5 teams having a double. And I said to you on the podcast this morning, do you know what? If there's a way you can get 5 teams, I've missed it. Not only did I miss it, the actual set of fixtures that I highlighted has 5 doubles in it.
There you go.
So there is a scenario which, if you want to have a look through, I tweeted it out since the podcast, a little bit of a thread of the best case scenario for a game week 34 free hit. There is one possibility where there could be 5 teams that double. I suspect we will end up with somewhere between 1 and 3. 0 is, as I said last Friday, is a possibility as well, but I think very unlikely. And so is this scenario where there's 5 is also very unlikely. But it was just because we'd kind of balanced it last week, and I think we'd made everyone worry a little bit by saying there could be none. There could possibly be as many as 5.
There we go. Do tune in and have a listen to that because I think it'll give you some real good insight and an eye-opener into what you do with your chips. Now, Liverpool 2, Bournemouth 1. Foul or no foul on the first goal?
Yeah, foul. It's a foul, man.
I don't know. I thought they were... It depends what angle you catch it in. The angle that the referee saw it, I didn't think it was particularly a foul. I'll be honest with you. I thought they were shoulder to shoulder. I didn't think some you really go in with your shoulder. He didn't really barge him. It was more a nudge.
It was enough. You got two people running at speed, and if you get a firm shove when you're running at speed, you're gonna go, aren't you? So if he actually goes down, this is the frustrating thing. I think if he actually falls over, he will definitely get the decision, and that really annoys me. There was a case at Burnley. There was an incident with Davinson Sanchez on Chris Wood when the game was at 1-1. It's a penalty all day long. If that's outside the box, no one's questioning that as a free kick. So, but because Wood doesn't make too much of a meal of it, or it's like it's not given.
Sean Dyche had plenty to say on that anyway. In his press conference,
Sean Dyche always does. To be fair, Liverpool underwhelmed again. Weren't at their best.
No,
didn't particularly need to be. There's a certain nervousness, obviously, for them in the back line with Alisson not in goal. Adrian's not at fault for the first goal, but there's certain things you can tell. Like Van Dijk is just not the same when he's there. I can tell that he's worried, and I think it puts other people on edge.
Not only that, but I think now bigger strikers will always try and target whoever his partner is. They'll favour that side of the pitch on purpose. You can see Callum Wilson was going to go up against Joe Gomez much more than he'd try and go up against Van Dijk, and it lopsides the play a little bit, but it does semi-effective in taking Van Dijk out of the equation.
I'm not nervous about the fact that I've got double defensive. Look, Alisson could even be back for Everton, possibly. We think unlikely. He certainly looks like he's going to miss the Champions League game on Wednesday. But if I was free hitting 31, 100% I'd be going Mane and Salah for that occasion, for that particular game. Even though it's Palace at home and you think... Palace can be weak offensively. I think I'd want to go Mane and Salah with Trent. I think that's the ideal free. I'd be surprised if there's many people going to free hit for 31 going to come up with much different to that. I think it's even optional that you could make a case for going Salah, Mane and Firmino, but bearing in mind it's an Anfield fixture. Firmino, I think he's just got it in his head now. Like that chance at the end of the game that Salah's put him in for, like normally he scores, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And I guess it was a bit of a blow for Salah owners like myself, because it would have obviously equalled Mane's total on the day. But hey, I can't complain having the captain return.
18 points is not bad at all. So yeah, we can't complain at all. What do we know on Andy Robertson?
He had a slight injury. He should play in the Champions League on Wednesday. No issue. I just weren't going to take a risk with him. He missed his threat. It's counterproductive for Trent as well when Robertson doesn't play, because they are such a
balance.
And as well, Robertson actually gets into more advanced positions than Trent.
Yeah,
it's
he
a
does.
bit of an anomaly or a myth, but Trent can kill you from so many different places. Yeah. Absolutely. But Robertson really pushed on. Trent loves that cross-field ball. And James Milner played really, really well. He obviously made the clearance. The clearance is
one of the best clearances.
And I think they actually benefited having a character like that on the pitch as well, because Fabinho has not been right since he's come back from injury. And I think that's just overemphasised the fact that they have been missing Jordan Henderson. There's no doubt about it. They're not at their best. They could be champions by this time next week if Man City get beat twice over the next couple of days. Is it 4 points they need now or something?
Yeah, 2 wins. But then if Manchester United lose to Arsenal, one win. Oh, sorry, City lose to Arsenal. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah, 1 win. And then if they lose again,
City lose twice after Liverpool champions on Saturday, aren't they?
And that's it, done and dusted. They turn up to Everton.
Everton fans must be thinking, are you joking?
Yeah.
They really must. After yesterday's performance as well, he really must be thinking you are joking that they could come and win the title there. And conceivably, you can see that now, can't you? Certainly, they're going to have it wrapped up, you think, before the break for the internationals. Which, obviously, if they can then get through the Atletico tie, and obviously, in a weird way, the fact that they've lost, it's all eggs in the Champions League, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then we've got to be really conscious. I think from an FPL perspective, you could do with Liverpool going out and then thinking, right, we want to break goal scoring records and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's where you'd want to be. City will come on to. They're a completely different case as well. On Bournemouth, there was someone who stood out for me as might be optional for a free hit from Bournemouth. Philip Billing got into so many advanced positions. He's 5 million. It wouldn't appeal, but it could be one for free hitters. But he did pick up this kind of knock in the back. I don't know why he didn't just come off. He was a passenger for the last 5 minutes of the game. He got a knee in the back, didn't he? I don't know if that's serious or not. If it's not, he might come into contention, actually. He might be one. If you're really looking to blow the money, you might consider. They're away to Wolves, and as kind of seen from Wolves again at the weekend, like Wolves in these fixtures, they scare you a little bit. But I'm comfortable knowing that everyone else is going to power into Wolves for that fixture.
The thing with Wolves in these fixtures is they rarely lose. They'll always get a draw. That's the problem with them. It's that they draw rather when they should win, but they don't often just go and lose.
But this is why I don't think they'll finish in fourth. They're really so capable of it, but they have results like this. And when we get onto the game, they didn't do anything at the weekend.
No. Bournemouth's next 3: Palace at home, Wolves away, Newcastle at home, and then it's brutal. So
it's not. It's Tottenham at home in there.
They've got 3 games that I think will make or break. Like if they need to get 7 points out of these 3 to really be in with a chance. The only thing that's obviously given them a little bit of a lifeline is how tight it is still at the bottom of the table.
There was encouraging signs actually on Saturday, and just to throw another name out, I know he was at fault for the equalising goal at the weekend, but should Jack Simpson keep his place, he is a 4 million defender. It's a nice one for your free hitters to put on your bench.
Yeah. Arsenal 1, West Ham United 0.
Talk to me.
Well, when I was listening on the radio because I couldn't get a stream, and when VAR goals end up taking longer and longer and longer, and so listening on the radio is actually even worse than being in the bloody stadium. I was thinking they're not going to give this here because it took so bloody long, but they gave it and we lost. Frustrated to lose this one. I can't say that we deserve to get something out of the game, because if you don't take your chances, you don't deserve anything. But on paper, we created chances. We played with energy. Haller and Antonio, again, got themselves about a bit and proved what they can be as in terms of a physical threat. Agbona and Diop defended well on the whole. I mean, Arsenal had chances, but you expect them to at home. And had one of those chances gone in, I think it would have been a little bit different to give us that confidence to go on and say, you know what, we can score against these. So yeah, really disappointing because it's so tight at the bottom. These small wins and draws and stuff are needed. So the fact that we're still on the same points as Watford and Bournemouth, Villa could overtake us today. It's nerve-wracking times at the bottom.
You must be encouraged by the way you played on Saturday, surely.
I'm encouraged by the way we played. I'm nervous about the fact that there's only 9 games to go now. Look, we played with good energy at Man City. They outclassed us, but the work rate was up. We played well against Liverpool and we played well against Arsenal, and the net total, 0 points from those 3 games.
You beat Southampton in the middle,
In between we did, sure.
Well, what you expect? You're not expecting anything from Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal away, are you?
Well, Watford managed to pick up 3 off Liverpool, so I would have wanted a point. I wanted a point at Arsenal this weekend. I really thought we were good enough to get a point. And performance probably deserved one, but finishing didn't. On the flip side, I am confident, and it's nice to see work rate. It's what it's about. But we walk into a very tough fixture with Wolves on Sunday, so we shall see. But Gooners, a lot captained Aubameyang. A lot had their eye on the Arsenal assets because of the double game week. I didn't think it was going to be high scoring, and it wasn't in the end. No,
obviously the goal had its fortuitous about it. It's obviously the correct decision to give the goal. Ozil was clearly onside. You must be disappointed with the chance you missed. I mean,
Antonio's header.
Yeah,
Bowen hitting the post.
Antonio in the first half, mate.
Yeah.
Well, Aubameyang's put one on a plate for Socrates where he's hit the bar, so nearly was a return with an assist there. He didn't have. I'm not sure if he had an effort on goal at all, actually. But I think they're on the longest unbeaten run in the league now. Arsenal,
9
very
games
quietly,
9 or 10 games from my understanding.
And decent fixtures to come. Obviously, it's after Man City this week. It's Brighton away Saturday, then blank, then Norwich at home. So I think those who have gambled and gone in like an Aubameyang and are perhaps thinking to free hit 31, It's all right. Like, I think if you're there, you're in a decent position, and you wouldn't think of coming back off Aubameyang till at least after the Norwich fixture in 32. I really think he's standout captaincy in that game week, with no threat of European football the week after or anything like that.
I wish Saka was reverse OOP. You know that if he was a defender, I think I'd be all over Saka. Bakary Saka.
Bukayo
Saka. My apologies, my friend. I would, if he was a defender at 4.5 as a wing back, the way he's playing, I think I'd be all over it.
He's playing really well.
The fact that he's a midfielder, I mean, that's one for official FPL to reclassify for next year if he's going to carry on playing in that left back position.
Well, he is a midfielder. He's a winger, and he's been forced into the position. He's doing really well in it.
Yeah, I mean, is Kieran Tierney even fit? Do we know?
Very close.
So whether or not Saka will stay as a left back, but I don't see why he wouldn't.
I don't see why he wouldn't keep the shirt at the moment. I just feel you're kind of right there. As a midfielder, he just doesn't really appeal.
No.
We said previously that the number of assists he's had has kind of been blighted by he's had quite a number in the Europa League and the League Cup and that, the FA Cup as well, I think. So it's not one for me.
No.
Certainly in my thinking now or even later. I think, if Arsenal did have a double game week 34, it's not one that'd be on my radar. I'd be thinking, if Tierney's fit, that's a risk.
Yeah.
So not for me at the moment. Can I ask you, Suj, Jared Bowen?
Yes.
Mikel Antonio?
I'd buy Antonio out of the two. There's 0.4 difference between them. 6.5 for Bowen, 6.9 for Mikel Antonio. As part of my moves over the next few weeks, downgrading Kevin De Bruyne to Bruno Fernandes gives me enough money to turn Traore into Mikel Antonio. It's not really a move I want to necessarily make because I don't want to lose a game week 31 player in Traore for a game week 31 player. But if I do lose Traore, then I may follow in your footsteps and turn Jamie Vardy into Jota, but I still have triple Wolves.
Why do you favour Antonio?
Because he has a greater goal threat. He plays more advanced, in my opinion. He gets into the box
Judging
more.
Bowen on 2 starts, scored in 1. Is it hit the post in the other one?
Hit the post from outside the box.
Had another decent
he likes to have a pop
as well.
He's not scared to shoot, which a lot of our players have been in the past.
He's comfortable. I told you, he's not as quick as people thought he was, but he likes to go at people. He's not.
Direct.
He's not phased. He's a good runner off the ball. You think of the sort of the strength area you have Antonio and Haller. If he makes the right run at the right time.
Yeah.
I think how static Spurs are. You're all thinking these things for game week 31, aren't you? I would be inclined to agree with you and pay the extra for Antonio.
I think he's just more advanced. I mean, I don't know what the XGs are from the 2 games that they've both played, the Southampton game and this game. It wouldn't surprise me if Antonio, I wouldn't even know how to find the XG somewhere on the interweb.
I think Antonio's will be high.
Yeah, so I think Antonio's the one for me still. And he's lively. He's in the mood at the moment, Antonio. When you catch him and he's in the mood on a little run, he's gonna be the difference between us.
Is there, for people who want an attacking West Ham player for 31, is there any case for Haller over the other 2?
No.
But the reason why I say that is the forward positions might be difficult to fill. I think
that's true.
I think the free hit 31, and I'll come on to this. I think the front 3 has become absolutely clear. I think nearly everybody is going to have the same free hit 31 front 3. And I'm interested to hear people who've got different thoughts once I say what it is. Haller wouldn't be one of them, but he's probably next on the list, maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
So any thoughts or?
No, not for me at the moment. I only want 1 West Ham. Actually 2. Ngakia at 4 million. I think he's locked in the right back position now. Whilst Fredericks' shoulders busted and Zabaleta's getting his pension.
Is that really a lock?
Well, Fredericks has done his shoulder, so he's unfit. And Zabaleta's...
Not to bring it into the conversation now, but I think Sky listeners will be very interested to hear that because he's dirt cheap in both games.
I think he is a lock. And he played well at the weekend as well.
Can we trust you, though? Because obviously in Sky, he's got to start for you. You can't leave him on the bench.
Me saying that there was an FPL-related comment, whether or not you want to go with him in Sky, I don't know. Different question.
I think for FPL at the moment, it's absolutely fine. Him and Ngakia and Simpson for 31 free hitters are surely your two, your fourth and fifth 4.0 defenders.
Correct.
I would have thought. You may not, I've not looked at it permutation-wise because you didn't vote for it in the poll, and you probably don't need to go that cheap, but if you do, for whatever reason, they're fine. They're the two, yeah.
Let's talk about Palace Watford, and if anyone wants more West Ham chat, Tottenham tomorrow being Tuesday, the 10th of March. Palace 1, Watford 0. Roy celebrates his new contract, keeping him there till he's 87 years old or something similar, with a win.
Third 1-0 in a row. They do this now and again, Palace, don't they? It was on a shocking run. Suddenly 3 1-0 wins in a row, and people talking about Champions League.
They're only 2 points behind you, lot.
That's what I'm talking about. Mind you, we can't, so why should they? But they can think about Europe. I don't see why not. Jordan Ayew now, 10 attacking returns this season, 8 of them goals.
Decent.
He's actually been really decent value at 5.1 million.
I also think he's been playing all right as well. He's been lively. He's been a good foil up there up front.
The problem is, I say this so often, I said it a lot at the start of the season, it's that awkward value. If you're going, am I going 3 or 2 up front? Yeah. You're really balanced in terms of not knowing if you do or you don't. And you feel damned if you do and damned if you don't. You know, if you leave him out, he's probably going to score. It's 2 in a row for him, but those were his first returns since scoring
probably
against Arsenal.
Oh, no.
In game week 22. West Ham was the goal against West Ham game week 19 before that.
Okay.
Can we consider anything Palace away to Liverpool in game week 31?
No.
Is that just ridiculous? What about the keeper?
I mean, look, Palace went away to City last year and did a number on them as well. Guaita is a decent shout. Look, 4 saves again at the weekend, maximum bonus points and a clean sheet. 5.1 million. He started the season at 4.5, right? If from memory. No, he started the season at 5. And a lot of people were put off because of that price tag. But then he went through a really good run in the middle of the season, game week 14 to 17. Back on that run again now, where he's got, 27 points in the last 3. Decent.
Yeah, very good. I do think, though, if you were to go Palace, you probably would looking at going cheaper on them. Scott Dan is probably having his best run that he's had, possibly even at Palace. He was very much spoken of for England when he was back at Birmingham and just never really hit it off at Palace. But playing well in a relationship with Gary Cahill at the moment. There's no guarantee that Tompkins or we know Sakho's playing for the under-23s now. No guarantee that they'll get back in. I also think it's no coincidence that Van Aanholt's back in the team and slowly been getting better. He's played the last 5. We know he's not defensively the best, but they're just a better side with him in it. Helps Zahara, as we've spoken about previously. But no, I wouldn't be looking at Palace. Watford's, I wouldn't say were disappointing on the day. They had a few good breaks and didn't really take advantage of it. So in the eye test, Doucouré looked powerful on a threat. Ismaila Sarr sounds like he played better than I actually saw that he played well. He's obviously in my squad now. We'd more be looking at Watford for 31 than Palace, I think. Goalkeeper, Cathcart. I've seen a few knocking about with Messina. If he's going to hold on to the place, that's fine. Doucouré, Sarr, Deeney, they're all options.
I picked up Doucouré because I couldn't afford Ismaila Sarr. And I don't think it's too... he created a couple of chances and decent. I think Doucouré is still all right value at the price that he's at. So let's talk about Sheffield United 1, Norwich 0. Pretty simple home tie for Sheffield United.
Simple bar Dean Henderson's unbelievable treble save at 1-0.
I just think that the thing with Sheffield United in these home games against the teams in the bottom half of the table, I find them quite reliable. Unlike some teams that can be hit and miss, maybe Everton's, sometimes even Wolves, Sheffield United just have that air of reliability. I don't know if that's a perception more than it is a reality, but I do feel like, you know what, they'll probably keep a clean sheet here. They'll probably nick this 1-0 or 2-0.
They're so reliable, aren't they? I think that's why when it comes around to the doubles, as and when they have them, I think a lot of us will even look at treble Sheffield United defensively, no matter whether they're still pushing for top 4 or not. And at the moment, they're absolutely in the mix. They've got one of the better remaining fixture lists. Would you have any consideration to go back to John Lundstram? I realise you've only just sold.
Nah,
No, it wouldn't occur to
Not
me.
at 4.8. He's not part of my strategy, really. I think if I was to go, say for whatever reason, when Sheffield United double, because they will, because they've got the fixtures to make up. Dean Henderson, definitely a consideration. Maybe O'Connell, Basham, Stevens, any of those
Baldock.
I'd take. Yeah, I'd take them over.
I think any of the
Lundstram.
5, just as and when. Dean Henderson, the only one, if you're sort of planning through, you just be a little bit conscious. Obviously, if you want to make sure you've got a keeper who's got a double, for example, is that Man United game will go into a double somewhere at some point, or a midweek fixture.
But he can't play.
But he can't play against Manchester United because he'd be ineligible. So it probably, the nearer we get to the end, if that certainly ends up in game week 37, for example, will definitely be a double, then Dean Henderson's almost a no-go at that. You'd be gutted about that.
Yep.
You'd look at the others. I would have no thoughts to go back to Lundstram unless there was another key injury to one of the other midfield 3. I know Sander Berge obviously was left out this weekend. Lundstram bowl accounts played very well, and it's an unbelievable cross for Billy Sharp's goal. And Billy Sharp looks like he's nailed in that team now all of a sudden, from being in a position where, he's suddenly playing out of nowhere to being a regular in the side. It's kind of him and McBurney now.
He's not getting the full 90 though, is he? That's the thing.
Well, he's not fitness-wise and that, and he wouldn't be a consideration
Age-wise,
for me even at 5.6. It's a shame from an FPL perspective that he was priced at 6 million at the start, because I think if he was at 5.2, there might be a time and a place where that would be more appropriate. I think 5.6 is still too much. McBurney at 5.7, I would feel similar. I think at some point in the coming weeks, we're all going to be diving on these defensive guys. If you've got, and you're sort of, certainly if you're free hitting in game week 31, then they're a definite hold. I think it would have been a position where you'd have gone Brighton at home, Norwich at home, Newcastle away, which is obviously next for them, and thinking, okay, decision after that. But I think if you're free hitting 31 and you've got, definitely keep.
Yeah,
it's just reliable.
No reason to get rid of them at all. Norwich, they can't
score away from home.
That glimmer of hope after the home win against Leicester and that clean sheet, and they're now 6 points adrift again. I honestly don't think that they're out of it. They've got some decent fixtures. That's why.
But they've got to be winning nearly all of them, of those decent fixtures.
The home ones, I would agree with you for sure. I mean, they've got a game against us, Southampton this weekend. But if they lose the next 2 or 3, then I think they're done at that point. But the thing is, I think there's still hope. And you talk a couple of weeks ago, there wouldn't have been any.
Yeah, but you would. I guess they would have hoped, although obviously going to Sheffield United's a really tough fixture, you would have hoped to have a little bounce from Leicester. In an odd way, it probably didn't help them to have the 8-day break. Could have done with another game quite quickly to then...
Didn't they have one midweek?
Then you feel like they I fucking walked into that, didn't I? Then you feel like they've got some league momentum.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're still in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
But some league momentum would have been very good for them to add on to that, and then feel like they're closing the gap. Whereas you look at it now, and from that fixture beating Leicester, obviously everybody else had really good results that weekend. But they were only 3 behind, weren't they? Before like yourself won and other results went against them. And now you look, and the gap just feels big again. We don't know the score at the moment, but obviously if Villa win at Leicester, then it's going to look worse, isn't it? They've got 5 very good home games remaining. I think they need to win at least 4 of them.
I wouldn't argue with that at all. I mean, I was talking about West Ham getting to 36 points, and many people were saying that they don't think 36 is going to be enough. Well, these guys would need 15 points to get to 36. So 12 at home, 3 away.
You can't.
Tough.
6 goals scored away from home. You can't.
6 goals away from home all season's poor.
We've got Mark, FPL_Badger on with FPL_Gaffer. It's our clash of the correspondents on Thursday. Norwich v Southampton. Be interesting to see if he thinks they're still in with a shot or not. I suspect, knowing Mark, that he probably will think no. But they're decent at home. They've got decent home fixtures, but there's no second chances now.
No, they're suffering from the same thing that's giving me nerves. My place is 9 games left now. There's not any kind of get out of jail cards.
Look at it now, and you'd think, all right, so game week 30 this week, Southampton at home. Obviously now blank in game week 31. They go to Arsenal in game week 32, which with the way they defend and the lack of goals they score, you can't really see them getting anything at Arsenal. So suddenly, if they lose this weekend, by the time come round to game week 33, they might be on the same total. If that's the case, they won't stay up.
Moving from one clash of the correspondence guest this week to the other, who is going to be Ali. Southampton at home ended up losing to Newcastle, and probably deserved to lose because Newcastle had way more of the game. I was going to check on Twitter if Sai, our Newcastle correspondent, did tweet anything about Alain Saint-Maximin, because he does like him, as do a lot of us, who ended up with the goal.
Yeah, I saw Lee from FPL Family was saying, I don't know what it is, but there's something that I really like about him, and I think others feel the same. I think it's his directness in his play. He wants to get the ball down and he wants to run at you. There's a little bit of unpredictability, but I think he's adjusting to the league and he's getting better. And there are worse players you could pick at the moment than Saint-Maximin at 5.4. I mean, I'd want to go more near him than probably Southampton midfielders at the same value, or to go back to sort of a Cantwell, for example. It's value dependent, I understand. But he's going to come into consideration, isn't he? He's another one who's potentially going to knock about as and when they have a double. Yeah. Which they almost certainly will.
We know the 34 game against Man City's got to be moved. It may stay in the same game week.
It could stay as a single, and then there's a slight possibility that Newcastle and Villa goes into a single game. But then I guess that would appeal even more, because then you're looking at him as a singular double game week player potentially with Villa.
Are we worried about Southampton here? There's 4 defeats in 5.
No, I just think I think Redmond's injury has been quite understated, and I think it's just that's sort of shunted them from being in a position we spoke a few weeks ago where the team felt very settled. Suddenly you've had, I know he went back into midfield at the weekend, but Ward-Prowse has been covering at right back. Valerie came back in the team and he had a bit of a mare against Saint-Maximin, which can happen. So I just think they need to get back to a settled lineup, actually. I think they'll be absolutely fine. They're on 34, aren't they, I think, points-wise?
Yeah. 7 points clear of the drop zone.
I think they'll be fine. 4 points or so. They haven't got a bad fixture run.
There's a 7 points clear, and there's the saving grace that quite a few of the teams have to play each other within the bottom 5 at the moment. So there'll be points taken or dropped from those guys anyway, so they should be fine.
Am I right in saying we've both got McCarthy and Ings?
We have McCarthy and Ings.
We've fluked the 12-pointer at the weekend. You get 15 BPS for a penalty save. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. It's fair play.
It's ridiculous.
I'll have it.
It's ridiculous.
I don't care.
It's ridiculous. I'm not complaining that I got the points, but I think there's so much weightage into that.
Yeah.
Had they not conceded, he was looking at a 16-pointer.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So we'll take the 12. Yeah, great. But I think if you said to me, well, change something, there's loads of things you want to change on the BPS, that would be right up there. I think that's way too weighted, because you're getting the saves as well for it. No, I'm not comfy with that. There's so much luck involved in that. It feels like there's no skill in getting a
penalty save.
Oh, what are you doing? You're picking Tim Krul for Norwich because we know he's got a decent penalty record. Don't worry, I knew before the shootout we'd lost. But I was comfy in my seat. I knew what was coming. But that shouldn't... I know it sometimes does weigh into affecting our decision making. I just feel like it shouldn't. Penalties are such a lottery.
Yeah.
I don't think... Getting a 12-pointer off that when they've still conceded, it just doesn't feel right to me. Are we keeping him and Ings? What's the plan?
McCarthy's staying for now. Yep. I'm only moving McCarthy on when it's wildcard time. I ain't got no time to be moving around my goalkeeper and wasting a transfer on that right now when there's other lurkers in my team that kicking around that need a boot up the arse. Having said that, whilst we're recording on Monday night, in 5 minutes now, we'll know if Jamie Vardy's playing or not and whether he needs a boot up the arse. So I'm not looking at changing my goalkeeper until and when I get down to wildcard time, or I'm really burning a transfer because I've got nothing else I want to do.
Does that mean you're going into 31 with no goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Is that your plan?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'll take it. What?
No, I think I'll fire one in.
You think you will,
Yeah, it'll be Pope or Foster, but I haven't decided yet.
And you'll burn points? You'll take a hit for that? Or
I'm probably looking at rolling this week. I'm on 8 at the moment, and then taking the -4 next Friday before the 31 deadline.
When you say you're on 8, you have 8
I've
players.
got 8 players.
As opposed to you've already taken 8 points in hits.
Yeah, who look like they're a lock for 31. I'm happy with the team I got this weekend. At the moment, I look like I might be leaving James Maddison out again, subject to Leicester performance tonight.
Yeah.
So there's no need. Lascelles probably sub, home Sheffield United. There's no need for me to be thumping things this week when I got decent backups. So I think I'll wait 31 -4 then for the 3 players.
Yeah.
That feels worth it, I think. On appearance points, I should be looking at 6, right?
Yeah.
So.
Let's talk about one of the teams that is playing in game week 31.
But I think, just to close on that, I think Danny Ings could be one of the ones that goes. If he's not, he'll almost definitely go for me in 32.
I'm going to lose one of Ings or Vardy, and I think Ings may be the one that does potentially go.
You might rage in about 5 minutes when you see Jamie Vardy's not in that Leicester team.
Yeah, I might. Talk to me about Wolves now.
They had a disappointing day. There's no other way of shielding that. It was a poor game of football. Interestingly, this fixture was 0-0 last year, quite late in the season. I think it was the first part of the first double game week last year, if I remember right. And Brighton really just put up a barrier and thwarted Wolves. This time, and I think this is where I feel like I can bring my praise back onto Potter and Brighton, is they've gone there, they've played well, they've been their equal, they've deserved the point, they've defended well. I mean, Jimenez and Jota haven't really had a sniff in the game. There wasn't really a big chance in the game. I think they've given Dendonker's effort near the end as a big chance. It wasn't really a big chance in the game. 0-0 was about right. Brighton certainly deserved something from the game. You could argue there's not too much to see here. It's what I always say about Wolves, isn't it?
Yeah.
I say this all the
They'll
time.
let you down
And I can
sometimes.
imagine there's Wolves fans who, when I've said that last week after they beat us and thoroughly deserved to, that I've gone, in some of these easy fixtures, they're going to disappoint. And I'm not sure I can put my finger on quite why yet. I don't know. Is it just that so-called weaker sides don't open themselves up to Wolves' counter-attacking threat in quite the same way the bigger sides do?
I'd be very interested to know the possession stats because, when they're playing top 6 sides or better footballing sides, they'll let them have the ball. Whereas maybe with teams that don't play like that, they won't.
I would have thought that Wolves would have had the majority. Brighton would have had the majority. I'm just going to check that. Actually,
it's just the percentage.
Like, myself.
I'll be honest with you, West Ham, we have had very low percentage stats, below 40% in the majority of our games. So I'll be interested to see what happens at the London Stadium this week.
57% Brighton.
Was Brighton, and 43 then to Wolves.
Well done, you genius.
Yeah. But I mean, I would have in some games for Wolves, they'll be in the 35s and 30s.
And they're comfortable with that.
Exactly. So to be honest, 43 is high for Wolves.
I'm sure that Spurs had more of the ball in the game the previous week. 65% possession.
Yeah, so I think Wolves' average per possession is going to be in the mid to low 30s.
They're comfortable with that, even
when
they beat Norwich at home 3-0. 39%.
When they have more of the ball, 45s, is when they've struggled a little bit more.
That's not more of the ball. That's still... that 10% is a lot in a football match.
Yeah.
If someone's got 55% of the ball, that's noticeable to the naked eye.
Yeah.
That one side's got more of the ball than the other. So, they're going through most of these games like that, but that's how they are. It's because they only press when they really feel they can go and win it. It comes back to the strengths of the way they're coached defensively. Otherwise, the sit-off, don't get done in between the lines. It's where I think you can get them in between Moutinho and Neves and get running at the back three and then get it into wide areas if you spring quickly enough on them. Particularly if Doherty and obviously Vinagre is in the team at the moment, particularly if they're high. That's basically how Spurs got the 2 goals against them the previous week.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, they're very good defensively. And if you've got the assets, you've got to hold on. And in spite of what I'm saying about this wasn't too much of a surprise to me personally, still go and buy their players.
Yep. I had the decision to make of which defender to go with this week. I wanted to get Doherty. He's got the most attacking threat, but then the price differential to Saiss or Bolly or Cody, all 3 were a temptation based on where they were priced. Saiss was the one that would have been my alternative, and ended up going so that I'm going to get Doctor in because I think he long term is probably the best hold. Saiss picks up a yellow card but still gets maximum bonus points as well, and the Doctor's 1 point out of the bonus points.
Interesting that, by the way.
Yeah, fascinating. There is a part of me that thinks I've made a mistake here and I should have got Romain Saiss in instead.
Disappointed with Doherty's 6 points in a weekend?
I'm disappointed that Saiss got more and costs 1.7 million less. There's a big price difference.
But it's what Doherty's capable of, as seen in the goal and assist, the previous week at Tottenham.
Yeah,
if you'd have gone a week earlier, you're getting a 1 pointer, or he might have even been booked in that game. So he's a 0 or 1 pointer, while Doherty's getting you a 12. That's the difference. That's why you pay the extra. Certainly no regrets for me going Matt Doherty. Wish I had a long time ago.
Let's talk about Burnley Spurs, because we have to. I know that was your question. Are you allowed to say what you want to? Collapsing visions. No technology issues there.
You know when you can see a timber moment happening and you just can't do it. There's no point speaking, no nothing. In my mind, I was hoping quietly that it was going to be so silent. Nobody would notice.
For those that are not watching on YouTube, some stuff just fell down in the studio.
Happens quite commonly with us. Steven Bergwijn's out for the season.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
Jesus Christ, man. Well, apparently that's what Mourinho has said while we've been recording, that he doesn't expect him to play again this season.
What's going on here?
I mean, yeah, Tottenham.
You talk about it is banter club territory.
Oh,
you guys
we are pushing Arsenal for the gold medal and that. But we'll probably still come second. We'll still come second because we don't win nothing.
I'm uncomfortable now because we're getting to the point where we should be coming to your place and beating you. And I don't like that. I'd rather be the underdog and be in that position. But based on form and what I'm seeing on the pitch, we should be coming to your place looking for 3 points.
You will, in terms of betting odds on the day, still be the underdog. I suspect there won't be a lot between the two teams on the night. We know you'll come and die for it. I don't know if I've got 11 players out there who can hang on long enough to die for 90 minutes at the moment.
And I just look at it and think, is it as simple as Mourinho's lost the plot, mate?
Let's talk about this on Tottenham tomorrow.
Okay.
What I will say on Spurs for the FPL relevance is, yes, more likely that Dele Alli stays in this false 9 position. I mean, if Bergwijn's out for a while, the immediate thought is we might have to convert to a diamond, which would probably be Ali and Lucas up front. I don't really see too many other alternatives that there are at the moment. Don't expect to see Tottenham in a back 5 anytime soon. He says, praying, I'm sure he wheels it out at Leipzig 24 hours from now. He cannot play a back 5 again. My God. Not only a back 5, but he's got centre halves.
5 centre-backs.
He's got centre halves playing wing backs. I mean, come on. Ben Davies is out for a while now as well, apparently. We don't know what's happened. So, but then go back to Tanganga at left back or Vertonghen at left back, play Aurier at right back and get him high as you'd said. That's how he said he wanted to play, wasn't it? Left back coming in to tuck in as a free with right back pushing on. So then, yes, the formation adapts in play with the ball. Please start with a back 4. I can't cope with that. But he did. I'll give him the credit. He changed it, although, my God, he was in trouble if he didn't. And Eric Dyer and Lo Celso played very well in midfield in the second half. I thought Eric Dyer actually was excellent in the second. It was his best performance in midfield for Spurs for a long, long time in that second half. And with Lo Celso on the pitch, naturally, those who've been listening regularly will know we can be a different football team, as shown by the equalising goal. Not only does he win it, he drives at people, then plays the perfect pass. It's the clearest penalty you'll see all season. Lamela is completely unfit, is going to have to play. The one benefit is, obviously, we ain't going to beat Leipzig tomorrow night. He assumes. But it's football and weird shit happens sometimes. Like Man United going to PSG with a broken team this time last year and somehow pulling it out. I don't know. But I assume we'll go. If we go out, there's no more midweek fixtures for us. So we can just play a week at a time. The reason I mention FPL assets is I know people are going to be asking from the free hit perspective. From the free hit perspective on the day, I can understand at the moment why you would go for Dele Alli. playing out of position up front. It looks like he's going to be on the pens as well at the moment, although you can bet your dollar he'll miss the next one, I'll tell you that now. But I can understand that. But for those planning towards 31, like I am, like, do not buy. I don't care. Go with 9, 8 players. Don't waste hits. Someone messaged me earlier and said, yeah, but if I buy Ali, it's only a -2. Guess what, mate? It'll probably be a -2. Like, don't bother. Really don't bother. Unless it's part of larger transfers, you're going to want to bomb it straight back out, and he will hold value, Ali. You could make the case that he's at the value area where you could get him into 31, go straight to Fernandes 32. If that's your plan and you know you can get away with that, fine. But otherwise, don't bother. On Burnley...
We're overlooking these guys a little, aren't we? The run that they're on.
They were outstanding in that first half. It's not a joke to say if it had been 4-0 at half-time, no one could have batted an eyelid. At half-time, they had a bigger XG than most teams will get in 2 games. And I mean two games where teams are playing well. I think it was like 2.71 at half-time or something.
Yep.
Absurd, mate. They battered us and played good football, by the way. This wasn't pumping it. And they outplayed us, outfought us. Everything was better from them. The game changed with the system, and we scored quite early, and then the second half was quite early, but quite even. But Burnley should have had the game well wrapped up by then. I mentioned earlier, Suj, about forwards potentially being an issue for free hit 31. I think it's Jimenez, Jota, Chris Wood.
Chris
I
Wood's
think
looking
that's
tidy.
the most likely free hit front three that you'll see in game week 31.
I also think anyone free hitting Dwight McNeil. He picked up bonus points at the weekend despite no attacking returns. Something about the guy. I know he's had a long stint without an attacking return other than a couple of weeks ago, but I like Dwight McNeil as well as potential consideration.
Love him as a footballer. I wouldn't complain if Spurs went and put a silly bid for him in the summer. Yeah. Can we do the Barcelona and see if we can do it now? But Chris Wood, and the other beauty of Chris Wood is 6.1. It's a brilliant price. 1.3% owned. Now, it's worth saying they do go to Manchester City this coming game week.
After that, they got a decent run.
And it's
till the end of the season.
It's
really.
another one. Chris Wood's going to be very touch and go for me whether I get him in or not. If I was free hitting, I would 100% get him in on the day. Definitely, he would be part of the front three that I went for. He will be the best attacking asset from Burnley. I wouldn't think twice about it. For those who are like me, yes, you can hold him beyond. After 31, it's Palace away, Sheffield United at home, West Ham away, Liverpool away, Wolves at home, Norwich away, Brighton at home. And he did finish the second half of last season very well also. He's got that place back from Vidra. I'd be certain now that he's back in the team. He started, he scored. We know how it works. He's back in the team.
Let's talk about the Sunday game, shall we? Chelsea 4, Everton 0. I mean, Carlo Ancelotti after the game summed it up pretty well. They were outfought, outbattled, outplayed. One of those days at the office. And on the other side, Chelsea's attacking midfielders came to the fore.
So we talk about injuries and we moan about it, right? Spurs, you can add Bergwijn to Son and Kane and all that. By the way, Kane looks like he's going to be back early April. I've seen a video of him training today. He's kicking the ball. Chelsea at the weekend. Jorginho suspended, Kovacic injured, Kante injured, Hudson-Odoi injured, Pulisic injured, Abraham injured.
And
life goes on.
Billy Gilmore comes in and looks like he's Jorginho
it's
Mark
helpful
II.
when you've got bright young players like Billy Gilmore and Mason Mount, who's had a difficult period, but I thought he was terrific, Mason Mount.
He's still...
That was probably Ross Barkley's best game for Chelsea. I would have thought, I'd be surprised if Chelsea fans said different. I thought for me he was the best player on the pitch. And suddenly you've gone, Christ, they're without none of their midfield three and they've gone and played like that.
Pedro coming back in. Well, remember, he was bought from Barcelona, so he's not a Mickey Mouse footballer. He's a decent player.
So was Alexis Sanchez. It was when he went to Manchester United, it was a problem, wasn't it?
Yeah, true.
Listen, Mickey Mouse players have come from Barcelona. Man, Giovanni Dos Santos, Spurs bought him from Barcelona. I thought he was going to take over the planet, mate. He did when he got to MLS, but, you know, MLS.
Well,
no offence to our
Pedro
American
has
friends.
shown that he's got pedigree in the Premier League in the past. I think he's a Premier League
Well, he looked
standard
quicker at the weekend. We had that one-on-one in the Liverpool game in the cup tie. He thought, oh my God, his pace has gone. What was interesting about this was I'd spoken a couple of weeks ago about this feeling of the team looking a bit older again with Pedro and Willian. But actually, because of the midfield three behind, and I think a little bit of Alonso attacking from left back, although they left Reece James out on this occasion, it just felt more energetic again. That said, Everton really played into Chelsea's hands. They had a huge, this is not FPL related, you can switch off for 20 seconds if you want. They had a huge issue with spacing. Drastically bad between defence, midfield and up front. And Chelsea just completely exposed it. Gomez and Tom Davies, I wasn't sure whether to feel bad for them in that position or if they were just shockingly bad from a positional sense. Now, they're both good footballers. I think what happened here is they got exposed because obviously the way Gilmour was playing, Barkley and Mount were in behind them two all the time. Now, you can play like that and take the chance, but then you need your back four to be a bit higher. And they just kept backing off. And with Giroud as the furthest forward, you think, you can do that a little bit. You can squeeze a bit. But on the second goal, they then squeeze and Pedro's in behind. And then I think from there, they shit themselves. Right, we can't let them get in behind again. And so the spacing areas in the first half and the early parts of the second half were massive. I think Ancelotti's a great tactical coach. He'll know what went wrong there and he'll fix it. But mood-wise for them coming into Liverpool now doesn't feel great. And
not if they're lifting the trophy. Boy, they're not going to be lifting the trophy.
This time next week, it might feel a lot worse for Everton. But I would say it was a very, very bad day at the office. I think it reminded Everton fans what they probably already know, that there's a lot of players in that squad, your likes of Sigurdsson, Walcott. I mean, Sigurdsson's just fallen off a cliff this season. Sidibe's early form seems to have disappeared. I think Luca Dean has underwhelmed this season. Michael Keane's had a good few weeks. He had a bad game. Certainly had a bad knock-on effect of Holgate, who's also been playing all right recently. And the front two remained a threat, but became quite isolated again because they had so many spatial problems in the game. But it was a bad day. I think Everton fans know where they want their club to go, and I think Ancelotti knows where he wants the team to go. He's probably killed hopes they might have had of Champions League, but that Everton now is about getting ready for next season. We said that this time last year, and they had a brilliant finish. So I wouldn't say don't go near them, and I wouldn't say if you've got Calvert-Lewin Monday night, I wouldn't feel like with Adrian in goal, you've got to sell or leave him on the bench. And I'd play him,
No, but Alisson might be fit by then.
They'll give Liverpool a proper game Monday night. The atmosphere will be big.
Whether or not they'll be able to still get something out of it is a different conversation.
Having praised Chelsea to death, I can't go and buy any of their players. It's mad.
Yeah. And last
I wouldn't
game,
think we've just to cover Alonso, with it being back four, because I was considering getting him in for Sky. The fact that back four really put me off. Really put me off, because it just very easily next week be Azpilicueta at left back and Reece James back in at right back. There's no reason for him to drop Alonso at the moment, but if he's going back that way now, and the way they played, you could see that's something that could happen going forward. Alonso's not safe.
No. Let's talk about the Manchester derby, the last game of the weekend yesterday. It just feels odd that this time next week, or just after game week 31, I might have no Manchester City assets. Ask me this time a year ago, and I would have told you, I'll have three, whichever three I can get in. I'm going to end up with none at this rate. I don't have anyone that I want. Even Kevin De Bruyne now, I'd take Bruno Fernandes all day long.
Well, the issue with Kevin De Bruyne is not Kevin De Bruyne, it's the amount of minutes that Kevin De Bruyne may be getting, because Guardiola's message pre-game, I mean, you can think it, don't say it before the game. Don't say it before a Manchester derby. It was pretty much saying we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Can't do that, because trust me, the City fans who went to Old Trafford yesterday and the other 20 of them were in the pub, they didn't want none of that, mate.
No.
They were shit, mate.
It was bad.
Yeah. I mean, watching towards the end of the first half, I couldn't even recognise them. Passing was off. It just felt like United had a real stranglehold in the game. I don't know if that was a fear from the previous meetings this year, where United have obviously done them in behind quite quickly, particularly in the league game at Etihad in December. But then, United attacked with four players that night. If you remember, sort of Lingard actually played really well in a 10 position.
He had a good game that day.
There was no, obviously, Marcus Rashford on this occasion, so it was a free that attacked, and Bruno Fernandes, who played well, was more of a support role for the front two, who played as quite split forwards. Daniel James has got no final ball. Ederson should save it from Anthony Martial, but there was so many things wrong with it. He took Bernardo Silva off on the hour.
Well, for most FPL fans, 59 minutes. Him and Aguero raging.
There was another one as well. Someone went off. It was literally about 10 seconds to go as well. General will cover that on his pod. I forget.
He certainly will.
He took Bernardo Silva off, and I had to double check on myself if he actually played. Wow, I love him as a footballer. He's so good, but he just wasn't in it at all.
Are you getting rid of Kevin De Bruyne? Well, we talked about this in bits. You're thinking of getting rid of Kevin De Bruyne.
My thoughts on Kevin De Bruyne are that I would have always looked at this weekend thinking I'd want to captain him at home to Burnley. And I think if he doesn't play against Arsenal, I might still take that chance. If he plays against Arsenal, I don't think I can. And then I'll probably just go into the routine with Salah just because.
Set and forget.
Yeah, just shield it. But my thoughts are, as someone who's planning to 31, I'm conscious of what's happening on the other side now, and I think Aubameyang is the absolute standout in game week 32. De Bruyne down to sort of Doucouré's area, Danny Ings up to Aubameyang fixes me some problems, and it's probably going to mean I'm possibly going to go into game week 31 leaving that sort of money to go from Ings to Aubameyang in 32, I think. But if not, I'd happily do a hit because I'm conscious of I'm probably going to want, like you're thinking as well, Bruno Fernandes in 32. I'm also conscious about that from a Europa League perspective as well. If they have a couple of bad results and they're suddenly adrift of Chelsea, although as far as we know at the moment, fifth will do it, won't it?
Yeah.
And they're in pole position. They're on a good run now, and Fernandes has certainly helped change it. And
fixtures now to the end of the season
defending a lot
as
better.
well.
Defending a lot better. Thought Victor Lindelof was very unassuming and sensible yesterday. Maguire heads everything. Luke Shaw, from when we did that England pod, and I went, Ben Chilwell was going to be critical for him because there's no alternative. I'm actually in a position now. I'm wondering if Luke Shaw, because of Ben Chilwell's form as well,
he's not
whether
playing
Luke
tonight.
Shaw might get ahead of him, because Luke Shaw, I know he played left centre back for the majority of the game yesterday and has in United's other big games. He might get ahead of him. I suspect that United will probably stay with that system for Tottenham away in game week 30, and then on the other side in game week 32 look to revert back to a 4 and try and really attack the running.
Will be very interesting to see. I think for me, I may even move from De Bruyne to Bruno Fernandes in that blank game week in 31 because I need the money. So frustratingly, I might have to make a transfer for a non-playing player to another non-playing player, but it's the only way I can release the cash to get myself in a position to turn Traoré into Antonio or what have you. Or it may come after. We'll have to try and figure it out. But yeah, it's very, very strange not owning City players. Now, don't get me wrong, if they double up on a free hit, I'll steam into 3 of them.
Just before we move on from this game, kind of final point before we look at some Twitter cues. Raheem Sterling. No attacking returns since game week 19.
Yep.
11 goals, 2 assists this season, which is not exactly disastrous, but on what we kind of become accustomed to is obviously well under par. We've barely mentioned him for ages, Raheem Sterling, because there's never been a need to. He's 11.7 million now. You wouldn't touch it with a barge pole at the moment, particularly again because of the rotation and stuff, and obviously his form. He's taken a bit of a bashing on Twitter, which will happen when you're high profile like that. What's your feelings on him, not from an FPL perspective, just generally at the moment?
There's been a lot of talk about whether he should go to the Euros and whether he should start. I would still take him and I would still play him. I think he just 1 or 2 goals and he'll snap into form. He's class. He is absolute class. Look at his record over the last 3 years. He's top notch. Every player goes through a bad run. If Harry Kane had been on the same goal scoring record since game week 19, would you say that he shouldn't go to the Euros?
I wouldn't for a second say that he shouldn't go to the Euros.
But I suppose I'm reiterating some of the talk.
If Marcus Rashford isn't fit, then he still absolutely starts. I think if Rashford is fit and he's available, And actually, importantly, if Kane is fit as well, because of the way you'll get runners off, Kane will drop in for England, and the way you'll get runners in off behind. I think if Rashford is available and Kane's available, there is a case to say that Sancho should maybe be ahead of Sterling. But 100%,
but he still goes.
He would go, and I think he would still start. I just think he's in a bad moment. The thing with Sterling is as well, he's not technically brilliant. Now, he's improved his technical qualities a lot, but he's not in terms of his passing, his first touch, etc. He's not elite.
No.
He's elite in other ways in terms of his goal scoring returns, his movement, his pace, etc. And it feels like those traits are not there at the moment. Like the one
he's
real
playing in a garbage City team as well.
You
so
can't call them garbage, mate. Come down the lane with me. But like the one when Mahrez put it in and he swung at his left foot, you just feel like it wasn't even the swinging at his left foot. I just feel like last year he actually would have been another yard ahead.
Yeah,
and
quite
his timing
possibly.
would have been better. And I just think confidence-wise, he's missing a bit of that at the moment. I think a spell back on the right would really do him some good, actually, in the short term. And on that note, Leroy Sané is fit.
He is, hey? Time for him to come back.
9.3 million. 0.2% owned. I wonder who that 0.2%
Dead teams for sure. Definitely a few in there.
About as dead as a Mourinho back five, mate.
Yes, indeed. Right. Now, James, I know you said we're going to go on to Twitter queues. We have run out of time.
What?
We have run out of time. It is a long scheduling, a bit of this and a bit of that. However, this week we should do a full final plan with all the questions from Twitter.
All of them?
Well, we always get quite a lot of repetitive questions.
There's going to be bloody more now as well, aren't there?
Which Spurs asset should I buy? That will be quick. We'll get through all of those in about 20 seconds.
Oh, my God.
We'll do as many of the Twitter questions as we can on the final plan this Friday morning, which actually gives you until Thursday afternoon. And I understand some of you may be listening to this on Wednesday.
You don't know how badly you're stitching us up here.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, stitching us up to do what? Talk about football. What a life. We're going to answer one Twitter question.
Go on then.
And we're gonna end
if
episode.
If it's not our friend Amber Redmond, I don't care.
Yeah, we'll do Amber's question.
Is it really?
We'll do Amber's question. And
I haven't even seen it.
For all you regular listeners will know that we like to do a bit of Q&A at the end of every show. We're going to extend the Q&A on the final plan, which will have a couple of added benefits. You've got a couple more days to get your questions in, and also post Manchester City Arsenal.
So it actually
Wednesday.
worked out less content equaled more content. Go on then, read the question.
Yeah, everybody wins. Okay. Everybody's a winner. Amber Redmond, you ready?
Did you really have that sitting up waiting?
No, I didn't have it up waiting, but when I scrolled down, it's the fourth question down, and it's also non-FPL.
No pressure on Amber, but Amber does the best questions.
Would you rather
See,
have?
like
would you rather have Edison's neck tattoo or Beckham's Mohican forever?
Forever.
I don't actually know what Edison has on.
Beckham's
I know he's got
Mohican.
a neck.
He's just got shit up his neck, and it's got like a yellow emoji, and it's really crap. And
really,
yeah,
I want to see his neck tattoo before I commit.
I'd go Beckham's mohawk. I mean, if I can have Bex's looks as well.
I mean,
am I allowed that?
It's more like a rose, isn't it? Edison's neck tattoo.
You don't want that when you're 75, do you? That's
yeah, you're right. I'm going to go with the Mohican.
Mohawk.
And I'm going to pray, Amber, that I go bald. Because that solves that problem for me.
There's a flaw. The Mohawk when you're 75 is not going to come off well either.
No, but I'll be bald by then. That's my strategy.
Wasn't it for life?
It is, but you can't fight human nature of baldness coming along.
Your tattoo not rub out.
Oh, there we go. That was a rundown on the first 9 games of the game week 29.
Well done.
There we go. Jamie Vardy is not playing in Leicester's game tonight, so I'm going to sit there. He's on the bench though, waiting for James to tell me that Maddison
Twitter
scored
was
a hat-trick.
right.
And we'll be back at you tomorrow with Tottenham. I'll be exploring James's pain a little bit more about the Mourinho situation. Wednesday, Sky FF. I'm having a good Sky week this week. Top 4K overall in rank for the week or what have you.
Nice.
Thursday, Clash of the Correspondents. Mark Badger. Ali.
Badger.
Ali
Saint,
joining us for that before the Norwich-Southampton game this week. And final plan that we've just figured out is a Q&A monster.
Was you intending to roll a transfer this week?
Yeah.
Let's just make it a Q&A. Done.
Exactly, there we go. But you never know, injuries might dictate that changes. True, yeah. So a bit of Champions League as well before we record that Q&A with Spurs.
My last one
and
ever.
Liverpool. So there we go. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Do hit like, subscribe, share the podcast with all your FPL playing friends and family and frenemies and whoever else it may be in your mini leagues. Other than that, thanks for tuning in. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child. Messi,